Hi everyone, this is Tim Gayesh again. Sorry that it's been a while since I've made any new videos for facial diagnosis of tissue salts, but it looks like I'm going to get into making a few more again. I just need some photos. Even for you people on YouTube, I believe there's some contact information on almost every video on how you can contact me. Uh, I'm also writing a book on biochemics, and we'll be looking for photos to use in the book to do basically what I'm doing here, and that's to educate people through visualization of signs and symptoms, facial signs and symptoms of tissue salt or trace mineral deficiencies. If anybody is willing to donate a photo or two, it would have to be a high quality photo with the hair pulled out of the face, no makeup, no eyeliner, no nothing, naked face, sorry. So yes, if you're willing, just contact me, and if I can use it, if it's at the time that I'm doing a video, and it's something that I want to discuss at that time, I'll use it. If not, I will probably still use it in the book. I can't guarantee that, of course, but the more I can get, the better. Let's get on to the video and let's talk about Hunter here. This young fellow's name is Hunter, and he is the child of one of two children of one of my clients that are in my private Facebook group. Hunter suffers from Pandas, which is pediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric disorder. That was a mouthful. Or syndrome, however you want to. Disorder, syndrome, all the same thing, and depending on who you talk to. What this is an issue of streptococcal infection, which is a bacterial infection. Once exposed to it, it's believed to be a genetic disposition, and that they cannot handle their body is not processing the strep properly. I have a bit of an issue with that, and I've actually started a first protocol line of treatment for children with Pandas. It is known that what happens with these children is that molecules of the bacterial infection will adhere to the brain, tricking the autoimmune system, or the immune system, and when that is present, any exposure to virus, bacteria, germs, and I suspect even mold, would trick the immune system into believing that there is a strep infection going on right then, and it'll send antibodies to the brain. But when there's no strep that can be for the antibodies to attack, they will instead attack the brain, and this results in behavioral issues such as anxiety, panic, tics, OCD, a wide variety, an endless variety of behavioral issues. The child cannot control it, and this picture is great because if you for anybody who doesn't understand it, and if you think that autoimmune diseases are nothing, they're irrelevant, they don't truly exist, look in the eyes of this little boy, and you can see that he's completely tormented right now. This was a very good day to take this for his mom Dana to take this picture. Just close your eyes, clear your mind, open your eyes, and look in this little boy's eyes. And I bet you that a few of you will shed a tear. Just try to feel what he's feeling when you reopen your eyes. He's completely tormented, and he's tormented because of Pandas. Right now, as we're looking at him, his immune system is sending antibodies to try to fight a streptococcal infection that doesn't exist. Those antibodies are right now attacking his brain, and that's why you're seeing the torture that is in this little boy's eyes. It's really hard for me to look at as well. I have to admit, but I'm going to move on here, and I'm going to start this facial diagnosis. Almost 5 minutes in. Sorry for the delay and my getting a little sidetracked. Uh, he has a few things going on, and one that I believe is completely related, and another. I'll just start. Sorry, I'm trying to speak without speaking, so I'll just start. And we're going to zoom in on the eye here now, and we'll zoom in on his left eye. And you'll notice the top eyelid, the upper eyelid, is dark red. If you look closely, you'll notice that there's vascular convulsions. Vascular convulsion is basically a tiny vein. We all know that we have veins in our eyelid, tiny veins in our eyelids. You can see that some of them have exploded. You can see the discoloration of the veins, the lines in the veins in the eyelid. This is a sign, the main sign actually, of potassium sulfate deficiency. And while we're on the topic of potassium sulfate, we're not going to talk anymore about the redness here. Actually, we will. We'll come back. We'll come back to the potassium sulfate. We'll just leave the zoom where it's at for now. Excuse me. We'll move down to the lower eyelid, and we'll look at the inner corner of his lower eyelid. Both of his eyes have the same thing, and you're seeing more vascular convulsions. This can be red, blue, black. This is basically blood laying under the surface of the skin as a result of a ruptured vascular rupture. This is the one and only sign of adrenal insufficiency. This is how we know that this young fella has lots of inflammation going on in his body. I shouldn't say how we know, because adrenal insufficiency can be the result of more than inflammation. But I'll talk a little later when I zoom back out and show you how it's all linked together. But this is adrenal fatigue, adrenal atrophy, adrenal insufficiency, however you'd like to name it. It's all the same thing. But when you're looking for signs of adrenal insufficiency, inner corner of the lower eyelids only. It cannot continue throughout the full lower eyelid, just the inner corner as is shown here. It doesn't continue, inner corners only. Red, blue, or black, adrenal fatigue, adrenal atrophy, adrenal insufficiency, pick one. So we know that he needs potassium sulfate. We know that he needs to be treated for adrenal fatigue, which is typically silica is a first choice for that as well. But since we're down here and we're looking, look in the same area where you'd look for the adrenal fatigue, and you'll notice this line. The line that starts at the corner of the eyelid, and it's going down, it's even going past the discoloration where you can see the convulsions. There's a fold in the skin, and this fold is called a cubical fold. When this fold is present, this is a first indicator, again, of a calcium fluoride deficiency. Now, calcium fluoride can also be the cause of the inflammation within this young fellow's body. And I know some of you out there who follow natural medicine. There's some people out there who go a little far and have overstated the issues of fluoride. Calcium fluoride and sodium fluoride are essential nutrients of the human body. They are responsible for the elasticity of all of our tissues. This includes our organs, our heart, our brain, liver, kidneys, you pick it. It's also responsible for the elasticity of this young fella's adrenals and adrenal glands, and this calcium fluoride deficiency may be what is responsible for that as well. Though I would also treat with silica. So you're seeing that cubical fold. That cubical fold, so far we have potassium sulfate, which is indicated by the dark upper eyelids, the convulsions, and the darkness that is seen in his upper eyelids. You're seeing a need for silica. Which when I treat adrenal atrophy, I use silica, calcium fluoride, and a few others as well. I have an adrenal formula that I do have made up. So we treat him for adrenal fatigue, and we know that he needs calcium fluoride according to the cubical fold that we've just seen. Now, to stay on this eye, we can look at the eyelid here, the lower eyelid and the lip of it, where the eyelashes connect to the eyelid, and you'll see that that's red. That redness indicates a food or environmental intolerance or allergy. Sorry. It is bright red or dark red, which means that it's at least a moderate intolerance or allergy. But because there is no swelling or puffiness on the lower eyelid, which I would expect to, I normally expect to see, excuse me, with this dark of redness in that lower eyelid, then I'm going to say this is a moderate allergy or intolerance, to say the least. But now I'm going to try to zoom out here, and then we're going to look at the bridge of the nose and try to get the two eyes in here together. And you'll notice he almost has like a yellowish mask. It starts at the bridge of the nose, or the third eye area between the eyebrows, and it almost masks outside the cubicle lines, and covers up just below his eyebrows. This is jaundice, and in order to see this now, I'm going to just kind of move down here to have a look at his lips, because whenever I see yellowing in a photo, there's always a possibility that this yellowing is the result of the lighting in the room. And whenever you want to confirm it, all you need to do is go down to the lips, look at the outside corner of the lips, and you'll see that Hunter here does have some yellowing on the outside of his lips, and actually some on the above his top lip, slightly just above it. This is jaundice, which means he does have liver insufficiency, and he may have some blockage, slight blockage in his liver, and it's just not producing properly. So I would like to do a mild liver detox on him, remembering that he is a child. But in this case, he does need to address the issue of his liver now. Lastly, we're just going to talk a bit about inflammation here. Now, because of his upper eyelids, that's inflammation. No matter how you want to call it, yes, that's the indicator of potassium sulfate. But you're talking convulsions, vascular convulsions. The only thing that's going to cause that is inflammation. When you're talking adrenal fatigue, 9.9 times out of 10, the result of inflammation. Calcium fluoride deficiency, well, if your tissues don't have enough elastin, and the rubberness in them, I know I just made that word up, but the elastin or elastic tissue is not usable, you're going to get inflammation. You can go up and down of everything that you see here, but let's talk about how other signs of this inflammation, and all you need to do is look at his nose. The tip of his nose is red, almost like a elder alcoholic, and that redness, believe it or not, is a very good indicator that this child needs some phosphates, which is something that I plan to treat him with anyway. But that you're looking at magnesium phosphate deficiency right there. Look at his cheeks. You see some redness, some vascular inflammation in his cheeks as well. You tie the eyes, nose, and cheeks in, and inflammation is evident. The one last thing that I want to talk about here is I want everybody to take a very close look at the forehead of this young boy. You need to remember that when it comes to facial diagnosis, it's very hard to do on children. And the reason why it's hard to do on children is because many of the signs of deficiencies take years to develop. The sunken temples of a phosphate deficient individual, um, that can take 4 or 5, 10 years. Well, when you're talking a 6, 7, 8-year-old boy, well, he hasn't even had enough time to display the deep signs. The same thing in the case if he had heavy metals toxicity. He would need years of exposure in order for the horizontal lines in his forehead. There would be a puffy horizontal line that would display, would show, would present. I'm sorry, which would present. And he's a boy. He just, his body has not had enough time to build these presentations to show the signs of deficiency. But what you do need to look at here on this child's forehead is you look at the shadows and the little dents. The dents, look at his left, sorry, that would be his right eyebrow. That right corner, top of his right eyebrow, come across a little. You're seeing another little dent. You see a little dark discoloration. That's shadow. Shadow can only be caused by a dent. And you move over his right, sorry, his left eyebrow. Over his left eyebrow, you're seeing another. If you look at your own forehead and you touch your forehead, just go between your eyes and go a little higher, you'll feel it, and you'll feel that there's skin and there's bone, and that's all there is. Unless, of course, you have heavy metals issue. In people who don't, and specifically in children who don't, and who show no other signs, the way that you can tell is by touching their forehead, feeling their forehead, and feeling if there's inflammation, or almost feels like a fluid sac, sort of. It's more rubbery. There's depth to it. It's not skin to skull. You can move your finger around and you'll feel a little dent. And that's a pretty good example. If you can dent it, there's inflammation there, and that inflammation is a sign of heavy metals toxicity. And in all of these children with pandas, I suspect that there is a link between thimerosal, which is methylmercury, and the onset of pandas. There are some genetics at play, I do agree, but I do not believe that genetics are related to the streptococcal infection, more so related to how this young fella dealt with his first mercury exposure, or his first higher dosage of mercury exposure, remembering that mercury compounds in the brain over time. So with each exposure is going to compound unless we have a way to remove it from the body. So is the genetic issue that of an autoimmune disorder, in that the immune system is now being tricked by molecules that have stuck to the inner wall of the brain? Or is the issue because of mercury? In almost all cases that I've got a straight answer, there was an exposure to a drug that is used for streptococcal infections, which contains thimerosal. I know that when many people think of thimerosal and they think of methylmercury, they think of vaccines. If you look on my web, if you were in my private group, you would see the links that I provided here a few weeks ago, which showed that the Environmental Protection Agency in the USA considered all, and I stress all, antibiotics as hazardous waste because of their mercury content. When you look at the ingredients in a drug, and some of these that were used to treat strep, there's a lot of trickery that goes on, because when you first look at it, it'll include ingredients, but in order to find the mercury, you have to look and identify some of the ingredients. So that although they may not list mercury, one of the ingredients will list mercury, and you really have to watch out for that when you're checking the ingredients of the antibiotics that you're treating your kids, because it's not just vaccines. It's in antibiotics, it's in contact lens solution, it's in eye drops, ear drops, nasal sprays. You pick it. All you have to do is look at the EPA website, Environmental Protection Agency. Although they have removed that link, I have a copy of it that I have saved on my computer, and I have a direct link to it, which that page still remains on their server, even though they've changed it. They changed the link to that page to go to the Food and Drug Administration page. The actual page that listed all this was removed about a month or two ago. Though I still do have a direct link to it. If anybody wants it, just contact me and I'd be happy to give it to you. There's a lot of things that contain mercury, and you truly want to limit the amount of mercury that your children are exposed to. But anyway, I think let's just sum up Hunter here, because I'm talking an awful lot. I haven't had a chance to ramble on in one of these videos in a long time, so I guess I'm making up for it a bit. Anyway, we've got Hunter. We've identified potassium sulfate according to his upper eyelids. We got the adrenal atrophy, inner corner of the lower eyelids, the redness of the eye lips, and just below the eyelashes on the bottom eyelid. We're talking an intolerance or allergy. We consider it moderate because of how dark red or bright red that is, even though it does not went blank. The puff, even though it does not correspond with puffiness under the eye, under the eyes, it's still bright red. So it's going to be moderate at best. We have the calcium fluoride line, which is called a cubical fold, which you can see in Hunter here, starting from the inside corner of the eyelids, and it curls down. And if the calcium fluoride deficiency was any greater, that would curl and follow the line, it would run horizontal with the lower eyelid. Is how it would run, and you will see people that will come all the way around, back up and connect. I'm one of them. Trust me, I am. But I do need to get that taken care of myself. Though I have a dairy issue, so I have to take liquid tissue salts. And yes, I can and do get liquid tissue salts, but I now have to order them for myself. And to just move on. Again, I'm rambling. We have the jaundice, which he's presenting with, which is a liver insufficiency. I doubt that it's anything severe. I'd want to do a child strength liver detox on him, and you can see the signs of the puffiness in the forehead, which is indicative, again, of the mercury or heavy metal toxicity. In this case, I've been working and investigating Pandas for I shouldn't say a long time, a month or two now, and I do believe there is a real link, or a real possibility of a link between mercury in the antibiotics and the onset of Pandas. I'm going to say, even if there's not, to remove the heavy heavy metals from his body certainly is not going to harm him. So we've got heavy metals, we have calcium fluoride, we have potassium sulfate, we have some food intolerances, and we have the inflammation that we talked about. So this is what we have with Hunter. We're going to have to get him treated and looked after properly. I hope Dana sees this and understands it all, and I'll apologize to her in advance for my ramblings here. But this is Hunter, and this is it for today. Thank you, folks. You'll see some new videos soon. Bye-bye.